consumer, and the market's been trading at very high valuation. So when you get this combination of high valuation and uncertainty, investors get a little bit skittish. So you've seen that in kind of the pullbacks here. So the focus actually is on earnings. We're about 80% through earnings season, and earnings have been pretty good. So as long as we can have good earnings to move the market along, I think we'll be okay.
New York City demonstrated its latest flood protection project on Monday, a flip-up floodgate intended to defend Manhattan against storm surge. Members of the media joined construction teams and representatives from city agencies in Lower Manhattan to witness a 40-foot-long, 10-foot-high floodgate flip up into position at the press of a switch. Brooklyn Bridge Montgomery Coastal Resilience BMCR project uses a series of 97 floodgates to create a 0.82-mile-long, $349 million flexible flood barrier along the East River from Brooklyn Bridge north to Montgomery Street, where it meets up with East Side Coastal Resiliency, its companion project to the north, according to the city's Department of Environmental Protection. The BMCR project would install a combination of flood walls and deployable flip-up barriers to protect the neighborhood from storm surge, while also maintaining access and visibility to the waterfront. The deployable barriers will be hidden until they are flipped up in event of a storm.
So this is 40 feet long, and it goes to 10 feet high, manufactured by Floodbreak in Texas, and it's pretty cool. This is the largest project in the Western Hemisphere right now for coastal resiliency. As far as these gates are concerned,
this is the largest project, the largest number of gates and size of gates that exist. This project started approximately 2 years ago with a lot of the underground work that you can't see. There's a tremendous amount of underground work. There's a lot of injection grouting and a lot of piles to support the structures. And Sandy over here was probably about elevation 10 above sea level. These gates will help over 16 feet above sea level. So we're taking into account sea level rise. We're taking into account the fact that storms are getting worse and worse over time, and we're building for the future.
Is there a high likelihood that we will have another coastal storm surge event akin to Hurricane Sandy? Of course it is, and this will protect a very populated neighborhood from the kind of flooding that it experienced in 2012.
Government cuts could make it harder for American families to get organic food. A number of farming programs and grants are now in limbo during the early weeks of U.S. President Donald Trump's second term. This includes a near shutdown of spending by the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, which purchases about $2 billion worth of products for humanitarian aid from farmers every year. Fair Share Community-Supported Agriculture Coalition, a Wisconsin-based nonprofit focused on investing in farmers, received word Monday that $500,000 contracted federal grant supporting small farms was terminated because the award no longer effectuates agency priorities regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and activities. Organizations like the National Organic Coalition, or NOC, see significant issues on the horizon for organic farmers unless a new farm bill is introduced.
For farmers to be told, we're not sure if we're going to have that program, or we're not sure if we're going to be able to pay on this grant, is devastating. You know, like a lot of these programs work as upfront money. So, or they work as a reimbursement, I should say. So like the farmer is often making that investment and then they're getting paid back by the government later, after they've done the work. Like different people are hearing different things from different agencies. So it's tricky to know even what the status of things are. But I want to stress, just the uncertainty around it is painful for farmers, because farmers are planning their seasons right now.
I have friends and farmer peers who have committed to contracts and who have put up their own cash expecting to be reimbursed through these USDA programs that those contracts have now been canceled, and they've put out cash that they could otherwise have used for this growing season. So it's financially impacted a lot of friends and a lot of peers in this season, and jeopardized future seasons as well. Our farm's been impacted. We partner with local food pantries and the St. Louis Area Food Bank to provide local organic produce to food pantries, to provide fresh vegetables to food pantries. And that funding is questionable. It's up in the air whether we have that.
So the biggest impact that we're grappling with and reeling from right now is the loss of a $500,000 federal contract that was already underway, funding our work supporting CSA farmers all across the nation.
According to the NOC, thousands of organic farmers and businesses across the country are now in jeopardy with the Organic Certification Cost Share Program, which help organic farms and businesses offset the cost of certification defunded as of this year. Organic farmers and organizations are expected to meet with legislators on March 4, 2025 to push for more supportive policies for the organic farming industry. Starbucks said on Monday it will eliminate 1,100 corporate roles as CEO Brian Nicole pushes ahead with his turnaround efforts at a coffee chain that has been struggling with falling sales. Nicole told employees in a letter they are simplifying our structure, removing layers and duplication, and creating smaller, more nimble teams with an intent to operate more efficiently and increase accountability, among other goals. Nicole was named CEO last year at a time when the company's shares had lost 40% of their value from a 2021 high due to weak demand in the US and China, and has since put in place Back to Starbucks plan that focused on streamlining business through job cuts and by improving customer experience at its US stores. Since taking the helm 6 months ago, Starbucks shares have rebounded more than 22%. They're marginally up in early trading on Monday. Starbucks employs about 211,000 people in the US and around 150,000 employees internationally, according to its 2024 report. The company also said it was removing a few less popular beverages from the menu, including several Frank Cappuccino, blended beverages, and a white hot chocolate, in line with Nicole's push to simplify its menu. Hikers are taking advantage of freezing winter weather on Friday to get a rare glimpse inside short-lived and potentially lethal ice caves that appeared on the Montetrash Glacier in eastern Switzerland. Torrential meltwater from the glacier caves carves out the tunnels as it surges out under the ice. The cavities are enlarged further by warm air currents flowing into the gap. More than half of the glaciers in the Alps are in Switzerland, where temperatures are rising by around twice the global average due to climate change. If greenhouse gas emissions continue to rise, the Alps glacier is expected to lose more than 80% of their current mass by 21,000. During cold winter months, freezing conditions allow visitors to walk inside some tunnels, but in summer they become particularly dangerous or even impossible to visit, as thawing ice blocks can fall and the water stream is torrential.
Well, it feels amazing. I feel surpassed. You know, when I walk in, it's like something that is very big compared to me. I feel like I'm a small creature when I'm in this here, and I feel like I'm a part of nature.
Hey, it's the first time I'm here.
Yeah.
My first feeling, intuition, when I was in this big one here, I thought it's a door to a parallel world. And if you go very, very deep, you might never come back.
Defending World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers visited the Cincinnati Reds at Goodyear Ballpark on Monday. It was an all-round show by the Reds, the host led by their pitchers, Brady Singer making his debut against Dodgers in a spring training game. Singer's 2 scoreless innings allowed just 1 run. However, the star of the day was Austin Hayes, who went 3 for 3 and drove in 2 runs on each of his hits. He doubled and helmeted twice. Sal Stewart polished off the scoring with a solo home run in the 8th inning. Former France forward Olivier Giroud is looking forward to his first full season leading the line for Los Angeles FC. The 2025 MLS season began last weekend with LAFC defeating Minnesota United 1-0 at home on Saturday to kick off their campaign. Giroud, 38, signed for the 2022 MLS champions in July on a contract that will run through the current season with an option to extend his stay for another year. The move saw the France national team's all-time top goal scorer link up again with the Blues' most capped player, goalkeeper Hugo Lloris. Giroud's debut season in Los Angeles was not without its difficulties on and off the pitch. LAFC striker described feeling scared during the 4-week-long Southern California wildfires and was a victim of burglary earlier this month when $500,000 worth of jewelry was taken from his home, according to ESPN. Giroud also failed to score in 10 MLS appearances 2024, but did notch up 3 assists. Speaking on his decision to make the move stateside, Giroud insisted it's not holiday time yet.
There was all the fires and this situation, really sad situation where people lost everything. I had also a personal bad experience, so yeah, hopefully some better days up front. It's part of a life. You sometimes you've got great days, sometimes tough moments, but most important that the club and the boys we support. Through LA Strong, we support the people who suffered from, who needed that support, where thanks to the first responders and firefighters who did an amazing job, and it made me really sad, when I was scared also, but yeah, I hope that they're gonna make all the effort, put all the effort and make improvement in maybe in order to prevent these fires, because it cannot happen like that often and more over like for weeks.
Serie A title in 2022. This followed an almost decade-long spell in England, where he won the Premier League, Champions League, Europa League and FA Cup at Chelsea, as well as a trio of FA Cups with Arsenal. Giroud also starred for Montpellier in their 2011 and 12 fairy tale season, which saw them win a first-ever Ligue 1 title. Before retiring from international duty after Euro 2024, Giroud amassed 131 caps for France, scoring 57 goals, and was part of the World Cup winning squad in 2018. Manchester United will cut around 150 to 200 more jobs as part of an overhaul to return to profitability after 5 years of losses, Premier League Soccer Club said on Monday. Plan is in addition to 250 jobs removed last year, the club said. Club has also been restructuring and cutting costs since British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe took a 25% stake last year and took charge of soccer operations to try to revive its fortunes on the pitch. In September, the 20-time English champions reported its 5th straight annual loss as it missed out on a lucrative European Champions League competition. Restructuring plan includes an end to free lunches for staff and an Old Trafford canteen to save more than £1 million a year, a source close to the club told reporters. Some staff will move from Old Trafford to the new training facility at Carrington near Manchester, and all the club's leadership will be based in Manchester, the source said. Executive bonus will be paid at a reduced rate this year, and then transition to a revised scheme based more firmly on the club's football and financial performance, the source added. Club's charitable donations will be focused on Manchester United Foundation and Manchester United Disabled Supporters Association, source said, and it is in talks with MUF about the level of its contribution. The club will stop donations to other charitable causes, the source also said. New Zealand poured into the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy, taking India along with them after Rachin Ravindra's century and inspired bowling from Michael Bracewell ensured a 5-wicket win over Group A opponent Bangladesh on Monday, chasing 237 for victory thanks to Bracewell's 4-wicket haul. New Zealand lost Will Young for a duck in the opening over and Kane Williamson for 5 shortly after, but Ravindra's classy 112 and Tom Latton's 55 secured the victory in 46.1 overs. Bangladesh earlier squandered a good start amid 236.9 in 50 overs thanks to Namachmoon Hossain Shanto's 77 and Jaika Ali's 45, but paid a heavy price for 178 dot balls in their innings. The result meant that defending champions Pakistan joined Bangladesh in being knocked out of the tournament after losing their opening 2 matches against New Zealand and India.
I don't know if I made it look simple. I think there are definitely times where I struggled for timing. They strung dot balls, they bowled really well, didn't give any width and balls to score off. But I think it's the beauty of batting and one-day cricket especially. You go through ebbs and flows over a long period of time. I mean, with T20, you sort of go and have a bash, and if it works out great, if it doesn't, it's all good. But in the longer formats, it goes sort of like this, and you have periods of being able to score freely, you have periods where you don't, and I was able to lean on Tommy a lot through those periods, and we kept each other accountable and knowing what our options are. But I guess the beauty of the way I try bat is just hit good cricket shots, get into good positions, and then hopefully they miss a wee bit and I'll be able to hit my gaps. So just trying not to force the ball. Maybe that's why it looked a bit simple, but definitely is not simple when you're out there. Yeah, Beastie bowled out of the skin. I think the development of him as a cricketer over the last few years has been amazing to watch. Being able to play with him way back in the day when Wellington, sort of 5-6 years ago, and seeing him develop is amazing. And he's learning his craft so well, and seeing him be so consistent as he is recently is amazing, and gives so much depth to our spin attack. Obviously led by Sat, who's world-class bowler, one of the best in the world, and having someone like Mike to supplement him in that is great. And yeah, looking ahead to the India challenge, it's always going to be difficult playing in there, but we see it's a bit of a slow wicket and our spinners have been bowling really well, so hopefully we can execute that.
That's the news this hour. I am Barry Kumo. Adam, thank you very much for watching.
Today, 19th of February 2021, marks 3 years that Leah Sharibu, the Dapchi girl, was kidnapped. On Monday, 19th February 2018, Leah Sharibu and other 110 female students of Government Girls Science and Technical College in Dapchi, Yobe State, Nigeria, were kidnapped by Boko Haram terrorist group. A month after, on 21st March 2018, 104 of the Dapchi girls were released. Sadly, 5 of the girls died, but Leah Sharibu, the only Dapchi girl, remains in captivity because she refused to renounce her faith to convert to Islam. The federal government of Nigeria reassured Leah's parents to secure her release. 3 years after, Leah remains a slave in the hands of Boko Haram terrorists, but Leah's parents remain hopeful as they patiently await the return of their daughter.
Cewa za ta zai kawo Leah. Muna roƙon shi ya cika min alkawari wanda ya yi mini. Kuma ina roƙon mutane duniya gaba daya wanda suna addu'a domin Leah dare da rana.
As we count down to 3 years, we appeal to the federal government of Nigeria to find a solution for the safe release of Leah Sharibu, the Dapchi girl. We will continue to hold the government accountable until Leah, the Chibok girls, and other girls return home.
Concerning my daughter, I'm pleading to them that they should urgent it.
Now, let me welcome you to the conversation segment of the Signature Show. This afternoon, our conversation was supposed to be with the Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And that's because of the issue we're discussing this Sunday. But he elected as somebody who has his hands on the issues we are going to raise should represent him. And so this afternoon, we're having a conversation with Razak Okulaja. Now, Razak Okulaja is the chairman, Korat Group of Companies, and is a member, National Council of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Razak, welcome to the conversation.
It's my pleasure to be with you today.
Razak, I like your smile, except though that you're not wearing my kind of cap.
Yes, you made it obvious that it represents labor. And I'm a laborer as well. Even that I'm an employer of labor, I still have to render service. So when I get calls from my customers and the people I need to give service, I'm still a laborer. So any day, any time.
But you ought to identify with us because we are the struggling group.
Every one of us is still struggling. We are not there yet.
Now, Razak, this our conversation this afternoon is going to dwell on the responsibility and expectations given to Nigerian manufacturers to drive the Nigerian national economy. Yes, you belong to the organized manufacturers. They are the unorganized ones. But national expectation is that employment generation, wealth creation, even research to expand the boundaries of our own innovativeness and new industries we are all looking at the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Are you in a position to discharge these expectations?
Obviously, yes. MAN is an advocacy body, and of course, we understand the place of manufacturing in the development of any economy. What the organization does is to simply look at how we operate, the environment in which we operate, stand in the position to advise government that, look, these and these can be done for us to do better than we are doing now. When we are talking about treaties or collaborations and all of that, we are the first partakers. We are the ones who are in the forefront. So MAN is in that position to constantly assist government to make the right decisions. We are indeed in a position to help build this economy. And this we've been doing for years. You can't rule it out. Go back a memory lane. We realize when the big multinationals, the big companies in Nigeria, the kind of contributions that have come, especially in the area of job creation, innovativeness, like you've mentioned, and all of that. It's a big task, but MAN has been playing that role and is still very much willing and is well positioned to continue to play that role to see the economy get better.
Ratak, we'll come back to innovativeness and job creation. But for now, one current policy, which incidentally the government has had to keep in abeyance, not that it has rescinded it, is the increase in tariff, electricity tariff. Electricity is regularity, is quality, is cost. These have been at the center of the continued performance, remaining in the economy or exiting in the economy, from the economy, by a number of manufacturers. The touted increase, the proposed increase. First, let me ask you, is it healthy for the manufacturers? Do not be selfish. Do not try to protect. Look at the overall national good. Is it good for manufacturers?
All right. In comparison with other nations or other climes, it is said that the power consumption or the amount we pay for power in Nigeria is relatively low. But whoever is making that comparison has to realize that the operating environment in other climes is absolutely different. Power is a critical factor in manufacturing. It plays a major role. From the research of MAN, it's been able to come up with the fact that most manufacturers spend around 40% of their overhead running cost on power. And if you look at what you can call as the power, what you can describe as power that we receive in Nigeria as manufacturers, 2018, it was just 10 hours a day. That was the average. There's been some improvements after that, but where you look at the operating percentage of manufacturers in Nigeria to be around 59.4% as at 2019, you realize that there is so much to be done. All of these things are influenced by power. I give you a simple scenario. There are industries that don't run on a daily basis for the simple reason of not being able to afford to just stay on power. So what you see them do is to accumulate jobs and then produce and then sit down and wait. It shouldn't be like that. Even the machinery that you import or you are operating with, most of those machineries are designed to work seamlessly, continuously. It's easier. It makes production smoother. You can gather good momentum when you are constantly in production and just shut down at your own times of regular maintenance. The current tariff, if we must be realistic, is a big burden to manufacturers. What do I mean by that? Manufacturers want to pay. Any reasonable manufacturer, you want to pay. You want to stay in production because turnover is what you go after. When you produce more, you make more money. But where all your money or what you could have counted as profit or the gains you should have gained in terms of mileage for your production goes back into the cost of power, it's a big challenge. The power in the first instance, is it even strong enough to give you what you want? You have situations where you have outages most times. The last report, still in 2019, put it that we're having an average of 3 outages every month, every day, which is something we still experience up till now. And most of the machinery you work with, it's even a very risky venture to be having such outages, because you must now invest on some kind of backup power. Where I operate from, I have an inverter that is 500 kVA. The power that inverter alone consumes is something else. What does it give me? It gives me 2 minutes backup time. It's not for me to operate. It's just for my machinery not to. But there are times that the inverter fails. And when you have a violent shutdown at times, you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just to restore your machinery. So all of that put aside, you now talk about increasing the tariff. For us as manufacturers, if you want to increase the tariff, what does your law say? MITO, with which the NERC and the DISCOs are operating, one of the things that MITO stated clearly is that as power generation gets better, as consumption increases, tariffs should go down. That's the way it's done in advanced climes. But what do you have in Nigeria? What's the reason for wanting to increase tariff? Oh, the GENCOs are telling you they are not making enough money. The DISCOs are saying they are not making enough money. For us to have stable power supply, we need to have more income. Why must you make manufacturers pay for your power losses? Why must you make that happen? If you want us to contribute to the economy effectively, you must give us a good landing. You want us to compete internationally because of the cost of power, because of the instability of power, because most factories even have to generate their power by the use of their own generators or gas plants and all of that. You end up running costs that cannot help you compete with other clients. And you are talking about us competing. You are talking about us taking a share of the international market. I must let you know, Nigeria produces quality goods. I can say that with all boldness because it is the same machinery, it is the same raw material, it's the same source that the company in Singapore, in China, in Germany, the printing machine we print with, it comes from Germany. It's the same printing machine. The machinery we use for replication of CDs comes from Germany. It is the same machinery anywhere in the world. I can list my machinery on any site and say, okay, I want to sell. The people will come looking for it. It's that same thing we operate from. We use the same, we're on the same pedestal in terms of production and output, but we are not on the same pedestal in terms of cost of production, especially power. We are complaining about that. And now you are talking about increasing the same tariff when you can't see any commensurate value that is coming from the service or the power that's been supplied.
Now, Razak, it appears really that the GENCOs and the DISCOs have become quasi-monopolies in the sense that there's no competition challenging them in power production, in power distribution, in power costing. And so they get together and determine at what cost to sell to you, and there's no challenge.
And you don't have an option.
The essence of the GENCOs and DISCOs was to break the NEPA monopoly, put this operation into more hands, create competition, create better service delivery, create competition in costs. If it is not happening, does Manufacturers Association of Nigeria have an alternative paradigm, an alternative model it could suggest for providing electricity and costing and delivering in Nigeria?
Yes, thank you for that question. MAN has its own subsidiary that has been interfacing with service providers for the purpose of generating independent power from independent sources. It's been found that where individuals or conglomerates or service providers can take up their own business and know that, look, we have off-takers, they get much more committed to it and they are willing to operate at a different level in terms of quality and of service delivery and timeliness and all of that. So for MAN, for every manufacturer, our mindset is simple. Provide this power, but let it be at a competitive rate. The obvious fact is that we cannot continue to depend on the system as it is now until you begin to have a situation where there is smaller units that can provide the required power. When there are some states in Nigeria now that are enjoying such service. There's one, what is it called, one cluster in Lagos that I know of, where their power supply is independent. And there's no complaint. They have 24 hours supply. Before anything can happen, if there's going to be maintenance, they will be pre-informed. And of course, once you are there and you have that kind of information, you can go back and put yourself together and maybe do some kind of offline maintenance at such times of the shutdown. You plan your production. But the situation we have right now, where there is a monopoly like you've brought out, and you are forced to still stay with whatever is provided is what you have. You don't have any option. It's a problem. Government must look at policies where we can have that open window. There are some opportunities like that, but implementing them is also a challenge. The kind of request that is made of you. I made an attempt once to talk about having a 1 megawatt independent plant. And when I was told the minimum you must pay every month, whether anybody takes off your power or not, is 12 million naira as at then. I quickly put myself back to order. I said, let me concentrate on keeping myself in business before I take up such an investment. It should be something that is flexible. As you come, say, okay, this is available, do the needful. 2019, manufacturers cumulatively spent over 34.7 billion.
On independent
power.
On power.
On power. Before you now talk about the independent
powering of your
generation that you did, 34.7 billion. It means the money is there, but we must find a way to break up this monopoly. We must find a way to do it. When the tariffs were to be increased, one of the conditions was that, okay, everyone you'll be put on different clusters. If you consume power, if you are provided power up to 12 hours, you'll pay this rate. Who is calculating that? Who is able to, once you buy your, I use a prepaid meter at the factory. Once you put in the units, how do you go back to calculate whatever? It's been a flat rate all the while. There's been no change. Only recently we've been put on load shedding. So once it's about 10 a.m. in the morning, there's no power until 6 in the evening. When we should be producing, there is no power. So it means we must concentrate our production on the night shift, or I switch to the generator. So until government becomes very deliberate and allows individuals and companies who have that interest to generate their own power and pick their own area of concentration where people can buy from. You can tax, you can make your revenue from there, but it has to be in a considerate manner. That is the way to go.
Now, Razak, I do not have the facts, but I do not know if there are constraining laws to balkanizing the present structure.
There is, definitely. There is.
Because I would have said, if the situation is putting so much pressure on man, why doesn't man pick up an advocacy with the lawgivers, the National Assembly, to say, look, it is in the national interest, not in our individual interests. We can give our families food under the present condition, but we will not generate the kind of jobs and wealth we expect us to generate.
Yes.
Therefore, for the economy, let us look at the laws and whether these things can look, say for instance, I have enough money to provide power within a standard regulated by a government agency in just Wuse. And any manufacturer who decides to locate in
Police begin probe as residents claim 22 killed in Edo clashes.
Osun APC local government chairman give workers ultimatum to resume.
Why Nigerian Tribune was among the first to be granted interview upon my assumption of office, says Babangida.
All right, over now to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian this morning, 53,225 pre-trial detainees languish in jail despite push to pardon politicians.
NNPP suspends serving Kano's senator 3 reps.
All right, 400,000 per truck. Maritime transporters threaten strike over extortion in Lagos.
Charles, this is interesting. Native doctors protest alleged witch hunts by Soludo's administration.
If I was a native doctor, I would feel the same way. I mean, it's no gainsaying that, because again, over the time, we've seen how the government has clearly said, look, he thinks and feels that the root cause of insecurity in Anambra State is around these guys, because they tend to do juju for those who come for them.
Exactly.
And then these guys go out to carry out their nefarious activities. There's another headline I saw yesterday. I think they were saying that they would make sure, the native doctor would make sure that he doesn't get re-elected. So I can imagine the conglomeration of juju people, you know, sitting in one place and doing juju to make sure that Soludo doesn't come back. You know, I mean, we have somebody who would explore further on this, because of course that's his state. I'm sure he has a thing or two to say a little later.
Okay, moving on, we have Tinubu considers committee for fresh census, and it is on the page 29.
Abia, Rivers, Zamfara, Kano, 11 others lack female lawmakers.
Ayeditiwa takes oath of office and pardons 43 inmates at inauguration.
All right, all the details on the Guardian newspaper. Now to the Daily Trust. Customs withdraws 4% import charges.
And we have boldly written, we have proponents, opponents dissect Tinubu's tax reform bill to the rider. ACF submits memoranda. We will be thorough, says Akpabio.
9 killed, 3 injured is Lagos-Ibadan road crash.
Tinubu, not National Assembly, dropped me as minister, says El Rufai.
NNPP, Conquistors factions, Rurum differ over suspension.
Drug abuse, domestic violence on increase in Northwest, says Speaker.
Now to the Blueprint newspaper with the bold screaming headline: NNPCL, Ramfac, Arewa think tank, others back tax reform bills with the rider. ACF won 7.5% VAT retains, agri equipment tax scrapped. Give me a workable law, Tinubu charges lawmakers.
Reinstated Osun local government chairman issues 72-hour ultimatum to workers.
AFCON 2025, Super Eagles will approach each game as it comes, says Osimhen.
Act decisively to end terrorism, CDS charges commanders.
Reinstated Osun local government chairman issues 72-hour ultimatum to workers. No going back, NLC replies.
9 die in Ogun auto crash.
And now to the Punch newspaper, which is apparently the last but not the least. Failing station shots, loading halted as Lagos impounds tankers.
Okay, and we have IBB's book, Don't Tarnish Brathwaite's Name, Family Warns Obasanjo.
2027, APC berates El Rufai for attack on Tinubu and Ribadu.
Tax reform, Senate asks federal governments and states to firm up agreements.
Lagos Assembly Speaker Miranda may step down as Akonde panel shortlists 7. Panel recommends Obasa's resignation. Akonde Oshoba to brief Tinubu on report.
$4.5 billion fraud. Emefiele alleges bias and demands judges' withdrawal.
Ex-Nigerian NSA links to $1 million US horse firm. And that's about it. Aidatiwa begins new term. Fasoranti's son. Others get cabinet appointment.
And we have NDLEA flags of campaigners. Drug abuse hits 3 million in Northeast.
Well, drug abuse is one heavy issue. I know when you talk about it, it does look like it's another menace staring us in the face that we just have to quickly take care of. We have live in the studio to discuss a little more about this development, starting from the gathering of, native doctors in Anambra, and they're saying clearly that they will not allow Soludo to return because he has violated their rights to practice Okite. The one and only Chris Maduka. Good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Wesley. Good morning, Charles. Is this a calculated attempt to bring me down? I refuse to do that, and I will fight to maintain the image of my good state, Anambra State, at all times. I am proud Anambrarian. If there is anything the native doctors are fighting, it's not Okite. It's just one aspect of making medicine. I'm not a native doctor. But I know Okite is just a brand, juju, a brand of juju that they say if you do that, and what gives it the name of the thing is put in a pot, clay pot, all the condiments, whatever it's inside, only the native doctors know. And suddenly there's a craze that young people are just going for it, because if you go and get it and put in your house, everything goes smooth. If you talk to beautiful ladies like Wesley, you will not just say no. If you go to the market to buy goods, you won't even pay money, and they will give you sit at home and you press a computer, and all the mugus abroad will send you money. That kind of useless, mind-bending, insinuations that have turned the mind of young people. That's one. So whatever that is, some people are saying before now there are native doctors who we know are herbalists, and they have some proven things they've done. Maybe you might have your issues, but people who have patronized them and got results, they have sickness, one kind of sickness that maybe that orthodox medicine cannot cure, and they know what they do, and they find the person comes out with testimony of cure. That's by the way. And even certain level of Nigerian medicine, even NAFDAC has started recognizing such herbalists with what they are coming up. I started registering them. There is different levels of native doctorship. There are the ones who are spiritual doctors. There are the ones who are herbalists. I think where we have issue is the spiritual doctors who are spiritualists, not doctors. They are spiritualists that know what they do to bend mind of people, to stop following the natural way, course of things, to believe that without work you can earn money or have a good life. And that has confused a lot of people. And when we were talking about Okite, the Anambra State Homeland Law recently promulgated is saying that the fake priests who sit down somewhere and tell you, I don't worship poor God, and that you can see 1 million people donating 1 billion to this church, and that when you come and take one handkerchief and you go home and start driving cars in your dream, you wake up and you have a GLK, that they are also against that. So those ones are not yet protesting. Who we saw protesting, and so the native doctors are not protesting for Okite. They said, if you make no Okite, come to government house, prove to us what is the content of Okite, and let's see. And the few people that are proponents who were in the limelight of making Okite have been arrested, and the government gave them condition and said, escape from the and go home, and he won't call you again to answer for anything. But we kept you there and give you so many days. If you cannot escape, you vanish from the cells. If you can vanish, then it means you have a case to answer. But if you can vanish, it means your kid is working. But a lot of things, what about politicians who have Okite in their houses? We are talking about a society that has derailed. If you ask the native doctors whether they are fake or real, they will tell you that 90% of their patrons are politicians. Let these politicians that are making noise now come out, because they have they are holding the other stronger part of the rope. If they open their houses for us to search and we don't find Okite under their beds, most of them, I'm not bold to say, there is a total derailment of our psyche. So let us not, you know, there's this saying in Anambra State, everybody, almost everybody, and if you remove the percentage of people who are not involved, that's so minute. So everybody in this time and era in Igbo land have gotten it all wrong. So we need a total reset. All these okay holding on the small native dog people, they are, you know, in the whole Igbo land, all the young boys have left what you call the Christian way, Orthodox churches and all. Everybody is going back, and they're going back the wrong way. Everybody believes once you go and get Okite, or what they call it, they say Ibobo, Isiatu, or all those nonsense, then it's all well. And some of them will go and then get, if you know, they tell you some of the things that these native doctors tell them to go and get for making these things. You now start asking this kid, are they normal? If you can go this level to get those materials for this Okite, why not use it to go and struggle and make money and become somebody and live a normal life?
Yeah.
That's where the total confusion is. A society that have left what it should do and have promoted corruption. Somebody you know, he didn't pass elementary 6, he dropped out. In Igbo land, those dropouts cannot show their face before. But that's the ones who are controlling all the local government. Everywhere, politicians use them as chief talks, give them good positions. In 1 week in government, they are building houses, riding big cars, coming with the retinue of police escorts. And no clear things they are doing, just because of few weeks in police government appointment. So the ones who don't have opportunity of doing it, opportunity came when people are telling them, you want to be like them, you want to be like them, come. And that's what happened. So, if we want to cure madness, we should not use pepper. The people are talking about corruption and the derailment in our values that have controlled all things. So these people are holding on. All these things cannot stop corruption. Has it stopped? Has it stopped that people blatantly make money where they're not supposed to make and they're living on people's borrowed lives? So why are we looking at, if we want to solve, they say if you want to solve if you want to stop a fight, don't allow anybody push anybody. In Igbo land, all these things are just fighting, pursuing shadow. Let us reset our value. We need to reset, whatever it takes. If you kill all the native doctors in Igbo land and they drive away the fake priests and pastors, we cannot get it right when the government are wallowing in corruption. Because when people are looking at the people, when the big goat is eating the grasses, the small ones are watching the mouth. And the government has taken the total thing that control what we do in Nigeria. This government is the most apart from God, and people have described even God as government in power or whatever. They say God is government on something. That's why they say God, G-O-D. That government, the G there is government and whatever. You know, meaning that for us that still believe in God, that once you remove God, the next thing that will happen in Nigeria is government. And somebody has looked me boldly in the face and said, if you want to change your fortune, join government, politics.
Okay, Chris. Emefiele's lawyer has accused Justice Oshodi of being biased and demands...
And it has gotten to the point where I support that Emefiele is not the first person in Nigeria that become the what they call it, governor of central bank. The way the government of Nigeria is following Emefiele has gotten to the point of making him underdog. The government had to watch it. It's like something else. Let's bring all the people who have served as governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, put their wealth apart and check what they have accumulated compared with Emefiele. Emefiele cannot be singled out as the only corrupt governor of Central Bank. It's showing now that something is wrong. There's a way you kill fly with mallet. He started opening some things. They have pursued this Emefiele's case to a point where I am feeling something is wrong. I might be wrong. But the way it's going, Nigeria has shown that it's not just that the Emefiele become governor of Central Bank and then corruptly enrich himself, and you are asking him. The other time we are saying he was asked to forfeit 850 million property and certain amount of dollars, I can't even mention, that is too big in Igbo land. He said, call that one Agokata about one number of dollars that he has to forfeit. And overall what he has forfeited so many times, and they have been pushing him like a rag from here to here, messing him up, talking down on him, using him as if something else is wrong. Because somebody was also accused of corruption, and he was going to EFCC with the governor of the state and the retinue of police following him. Have they gotten that? Just a few days ago, I saw a viral video of where the man is appearing in court, and the lawyers cannot even enter that court. And somebody was making video and said, I have to enter Federal High Court. That police, anybody that crossed there, police want to stop you. Where are you going to? Wait there. And the man insisted, and he was recording the whole thing that happened. Nigeria has turned to Banana Island. But if banana is sweet, why is the Banana Republic dangerous? That's an irony. That's an irony. Nigeria is running on irony. Until we reset, we need a reset. Young Nigerian, nominated for Nobel Prize. At least once in a while we hear
good news.
Something that sounds like good news. We wish him a lot of luck, because he might do the young people, just like some people in his age who have resetted their mind to going to do Okite, and they leave everything they will do to become native doctors or okay. They should look at this certain light that comes up to show you there's still light at the end of the tunnel, that good life can be achieved by hard work. Less than 30% of Nigerians pay tax. That was because the government in power subsequently had no moral grounds to ask Nigerians to pay tax. All the money Nigerians have been making, they cannot account for it, so they cannot look anybody in the face and say pay tax. The only people that they have managed to corner to pay tax are the civil servants. They take their tax from source. Most of the big people that have 500 billion naira in accounts in Nigerian banks, the same system, don't pay 1 naira. I'll give you an example. I worked in a water reforms. The big people cannot pay water bills. And they use water in GRAs treated at the expense of government to water their flowers. And they use dogs and the security men to lock the doors. You can't come to Azent for water rate and water bills. Why some people at the other end cannot even see a drop of clean water to drink. The big men in Nigeria don't pay tax. That's part of corruption. The tax is meant for poor people. They can even enforce to pay a tax. Over time in the history of Nigeria, big men have not shown us they pay tax. Some of them, when it crop up, they will turn it into politics, that they say you did not pay tax, because only when you are in opposition, that's when they will look into your intestine to see whether what you ate last night, how you digested. But when you are in the central party or the ruling party and you are doing well, nobody knows whether you pay tax or not, and you keep enriching yourself. In a good system, some of the millionaires we have in Nigeria shouldn't have the kind of money they have, because they would have been taxed 1,000%. So they keep making money, and a lot of us still go to a market to buy mudu of rice and gari at the same price. When you have, Charles, you have 500 billion naira in your account is circulating, and I will have 70,000 naira minimum wage. They promise that has not come. And some people have fainted when they get old alert, they've died here. And then, me and you will go into the same market to buy apple and gari. It's the highest sense of injustice and inhumanity. What he said, man to man is inhuman. APC left me.
Yes, Erufai.
It's not him that left. This is season. They've started preparing our mind again.
Elections.
Of telling us who left who. When they were dining and whining, nobody knew who left who. If they begin to left themselves, let them go back to where the rain started beating them to know when it stopped beating them. We don't need to know who left who. because these are the people who are in control of leading people. So if among them they have begun to left themselves and what? And you have to watch them. Don't take this to the bank. Nigerian politicians don't leave any one of themselves. They are still the same. They will meet in the dark, pop champagnes, get corrupt, eat Nigerian money, come to the newspaper, tell you this man left me, this man left me. The poor people will go and fight for them and die. Only fools die for Nigerian politicians. One thing I've learned in Anambra State, no single person, since Anambra started being hearing about, have you heard that anybody died in Anambra State for any fool politician? No, you can't say it. Anambra people where I come from don't die for any politician. They rather encourage you to bring money. They will bring 100 billion, bring any amount of money to Anambra for politics. Anambra people will wipe it and still go to the pool to vote who they want to vote for. You know, let me give you an example. There's a popular ground in Anambra where the politicians normally call Anambra people for a rally. They call it Centenary Field in Onitsha. That field is owned by Catholic Church. If you go to Centenary Field, APC call for rally. You go there, you get 5 million people in one go, wearing their uniform APC. The next morning, APGA will call for rally. You get 5 million people. The next day, PDP will call. You get the same number of people. And I stand on the side, I say, does Anambra people regenerate? Anambra people are like the legendary ENUGU Tioba, where the ENUGU Tioba started flying without pitching. The Anambra people have started shooting without aiming. So if gone to the family, we are 3 members of the family and the father. Charles, you are the first son. Quincy is the only woman in the house. We share uniform. You sew uniform for APC. From the same ward. I saw for PDP, you saw for APGA. When they come to the ward, they say, we need to go to Oka for campaign rally. Charles, it's your turn. APC call for rally. Go. That's Anambra people for you. I wish Nigerians will imbibe this kind of approach to tell the politicians that they are not the only other 3 that bear children that they use to press in mouth. Other abrosos, and happy one. We are beginning to know that every time and season we form their own politics, and even the politicians and the followers in Nigeria of these days, we need to begin. They are opening our eyes to know. It's not every day you come, like my lecturer told me when I left school. We didn't visit the school until I go there for reference to go and do my master. He said, Chris, you left this school for a long time. You think we are commercial sex workers? You come, we sign paper for you to go. Since you left this school, you've not come. Nigerian political followers are not commercial sex workers where politicians come visit them when they want, pay them every 4 years. I water you, I fire you, they will kill themselves for you, vote you, you go. You show them what they call the bicycle man greeting. When bicycle man visit your house, you follow, you will be talking and chatting. When the man want to go, he will give you the other side, and then that's the end. Okay. Workers to resume by force.
Yes.
In Osun State. You know. It begins the time where I laugh at Nigerians. Reinstated local government people are forcing workers to resume. And they gave them 72 hours. I thought that they are so powerful they should give them 2 hours to resume. Let's watch out. When in anger, they sleep. When trouble, they sleep. In anger, they go the poker. Just check the number of local governments in Osun State and the number of workers who are saying, until you guys settle and tell us who is in power. Is it the APC restricted local government chairmen who are caretakers, or the ones that the governor Adeleke has organized state election for local government and put in place? That they don't want to be in the middle of crossfire, and you are forcing them to resume. Only 3 that will hear, they will kill it and stand where it is standing. I support the Osun State local government workers. They should stay aside. Let the 2 elephants fight. Let there be no grasses where they fight. Let them destroy the houses. When they settle, they will resume. And before I go, 53,000, let's say 54,000 awaiting trial Now they're using new word, pre-trial. Detainees are in Nigeria. If you don't know what this means, it means that once they accuse you of anything, you go to court, the judge puts you in jail. You are there waiting for your trial to be completed before you are either convicted or discharged. So we have an average of 54,000 of them in Nigeria, and they need to eat. They need to use the facilities of the Nigerian correctional centers, and they are there. When you remove this number from the number of people who are serving their terms, this number is compared with, you might have, if there are 100 people in Nigerian prison, 80 are pre-trial, waiting trial. 20 are only the ones serving. So you know, Nigeria is a country where we deliberately put ourselves in trouble, and we are looking for who is troubling us. There has been a lot of projects in Nigeria where they are talking about speeding up criminal justice system. Nigeria is a place where criminal justice system runs like as speed as tortoise, the speed of tortoise. So they keep carrying people, dumping in jail. They don't give the speedy trial. Some people are there forgotten. People don't even know they exist there, and they are feeding. So the glitch, corruption, and all that population provide for the correctional centers and all the people involved, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, they know. Let me tell you, if Nigerians tell you they don't know how to solve Nigerian problem, it's a lie. The okra tree can never grow more than the person who planted it, because when it finishes growing, you bend. God bless Nigeria.
Many thanks, Chris, for your input on the show this morning. It's really appreciate. So we're back shortly after this. Just stay with us.